What's up, guys? So, tonight I decided that I would discuss one of my little weird topics that just appear out of the blue in this little brain of mine, and that is brand loyalty. And the reason I have this in mind, it happened pretty random. I was just driving and I was going downtown and I observed so many places, things, different colors, schemes, contrasts, and I'm like, you know what? Downtown is the place to go to if you're spending the night out just exploring out and about. And I noticed that every place has their own touch. It's like coffee places usually rely on the color brown. I guess it's because that's what coffee looks like. Then fast food places, from what I remember, they typically have red in their logo because apparently the color red is supposed to make you think of food. It makes you hungry. Like that's the whole reason McDonald's has it on their logo, Chick-fil-A has it on their logo. And that got me thinking about, there is so much psychology in everything. Like, that's why in the past I have said the way I look at life is just a massive psychological game. And it's just impressive to me how much time has been put into studying the dynamics of people. But when I think about brands, the whole fact that I have a negative perception of big companies and businesses, it kind of makes it difficult for me to get behind the idea of being loyal to a brand. I'm like, I'm not loyal to anything or anybody because nobody or anything is loyal to me. And it's okay for me to think that way because I cannot impose into a human to remain attached to something that eventually may not serve them as well. It may not please you as much. So it's okay for you to venture out and consider other options. But when I think about brands, it is very, very, very rare that I become a brand loyalist. Honestly, the one thing that I can think of that I'll be loyal to for the rest of my life is Toyota. As a car maker, I cannot imagine myself driving another vehicle that's not a Toyota. So it's just my personal preference. I have heard from folks in my family since I was little that Toyotas are pretty much indestructible. And in my experience owning a Toyota, I have never had any problems. And every time I go get can anticipate when the next service is going to be and what I may possibly need. I just feel like I'm being taken care of. I'm not saying that I could not get that quality of customer service at another brand. Like I'm sure Chevy would be good. I'm sure Ford has stuff to offer. But for me personally, when I saw the Toyota that I currently own, which is a Corolla, I knew that I was going to own one, period. It just seemed like the perfect vehicle for me. When it comes to electronics, I tend to like Sony, particularly for headphones and maybe other, like, more for music things, sound outputs. I have had great experiences with them. They last me a long time, and I honestly feel like they're worth the price. But even if it's not Sony, I do have other options that I would consider. When it comes to clothes, this is going to be my favorite one. I like to try a little bit of everything. And I honestly do not care about buying it brand new. So if I get lucky one day thrifting and I find something fancy that I genuinely like, I'll go ahead and own it. But just because you may notice me wearing the logo of something a lot, it does not mean that I directly supported that brand. Like a lot of the things that I have purchased have come from the thrift store, or someone gave me a gift card for me to utilize for that brand. So if I would have had a different place or a different brand. So when it comes to workout gear, I cannot tell you which one I like better. Do I like Under Armour better? Do I like Adidas better? Do I like New Balance better? Do I like Nike better? To me, they all have been great experiences. But you know what else has been a great experience? Avia, which is what Walmart sells. Then Skin Now. That's another brand that Walmart sells. And I have had great experiences with them, perfect experiences. So honestly, why would I become a loyal consumer of a specific brand when other brands can satisfy me in the same way? Honestly, it comes down to I guess, the prestige that a certain brand may bring you. And I guess for me personally, something that influences me is the fact that I was brought up not valuing those things. Because I like to question myself on that. I'm like, why am I not a brand loyalist? Like, some people absolutely cannot have or use something else unless it meets their criteria. And sometimes the criteria is, oh, you're going to the store, make sure that you bring me freaking Aunt Jemima's syrup. And I'm like, why does it have to be Aunt Jemima? Why can you not use a replacement? Why can you not use honey instead? You know, honey doesn't have all that extra junk in there like Aunt Jemima. That mess has a lot of unhealthy stuff that you should not mess with. But I understand that if you have a lot of experience cooking, that you will have experimented with a lot of brands, and you will realize that not everyone fixes food in the same way. Because one good giveaway is the ingredients. From what I understand, what whichever ingredient is most present in something, that will be listed at the very beginning, and then the further down the list that you go, that um, amount is present in a lesser quantity, something like that. So maybe the generic brand of something will have more of a lesser ingredient that you actually need more of. And I'm like, well, in a situation like that, what you can do is grab the ingredient separately, and then you can fix it to suit your taste. Like, if you buy chocolate nibs and they don't have enough sugar, why don't you just add more sugar, as opposed to trying to find the chocolate nibs that bring the exact amount of all the elements that you're looking for to make it work perfectly for you. In the kitchen, I'm not afraid of experimenting until I get something right. See what I mean? So, when it comes to foods, I just do not fall in love with a specific brand. So I don't know, you guys. I understand that brands try to go out of their way to make sure that I remain loyal to them. Like, Sprint sent me a stupid email either today or yesterday. I know I saw it today, but it was trying to tell me how to use my tax refund. It was trying to sell me the iPhone XR or X10, XYZ, whatever the hell is out there. And I'm like, excuse me, investing my tax refund on a $1,000 phone is not the wise way to go about spending my money, especially when the current phone that I have is working just fine. But of course, Sprint is just trying to say, just update because the device that you have now is old, and we have so much better stuff out there now. And I'm like, do you have better stuff, or does Apple have better stuff? And even though when it comes to smartphones that I have tested, the iPhone has been the one that had an interface that I can actually grasp and understand. Um, if something happens to Apple to where it goes down, or I just do not dig it anymore, I'm not afraid of trying another device, because I know that by experimenting with it, trying it out, pushing buttons, making adjustments, I will get that phone to work in the manner that I need it to. So it may take me a minute, just like when you purchase a new computer, you're looking for a new background, you are fixing the zooming in, zooming out, you're changing the border on things, the colors, all of those elements. same thing with a phone. I'm not afraid of the customizing process, but I can see why it would turn off some people. You get used to something that is a part of your routine. So the idea of starting something new is absolutely intimidating. So maybe that's why some people unconsciously develop brand loyalties. Well, for me personally, like I said, I'm not afraid of discovering that something that I already like can get better. And I just overall like to get out and experiment and get out of my comfort zone. But, anyways, you guys, that's enough rambling from me. I'm gonna catch up with some of your comments now. Do you monetize this channel? If not, you should. For right now, I am able to monetize, but at the rate that I'm going, since my channel is actually dying, it would not surprise me if by the summer I lose the amount of subs that I need to be able to continue to monetize. But anyways, it's not really like I'm trying to make this a big dream. If it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it's all right. I'm not obsessed. But yeah, for right now, I can monetize it. You should be able to see some kind of button there because I have people occasionally chip in a couple of bucks. So if you don't see it there, it probably got demonetized already for some reason. I don't know. YouTube does a lot of crazy things, and I really don't look deep into it. But you guys let me know if you can still see that super chat thing because YouTube these days is just crazy. But yeah, so that's what this is about. At any time, this channel is going to lose its monetization properties, and I'm not even bothered. Like, I'm not the best creator out there. I cannot expect to have this work for me forever if I'm not putting in the work and effort that it takes to retain the audience, gain new audience, and, build. See what I mean? I guess I have the potential, but I independently just, this is it, you know. And I don't like to have the pressure oh, I gotta keep the business rolling. If it works, it works. I don't need any more stress in my life, trust me. I had an 84 Corolla that I drove until last year. My mother had the 88 Corolla and she drove it until 2003. And I forget why she purchased a new vehicle, but she gave that one to my cousin, and my cousin, she just isn't good with cars. So it pretty much died. And had mom had that car, it would still be running. Pretty damn sure about it. The only brand I won't use is Gillette. You know what? When it comes to razor blades, the best one that has worked for me has been Noxzema or Noxzema. I don't know what you call it. But it has 3 blades, perfect glide, smooth, and I tend to not cut myself with it as much. I am currently using one that my mom lent me as a lifesaver because I was at the gym and I needed a razor, and I'm like, oh, I forgot my razor at home. And she happened to have one. It has 3 blades as well, but for some reason, I cannot feel the blade against my skin. So I'm like, do I need to apply more pressure? And actually, you don't need to apply a whole lot of pressure to it, but it's weird for me because the Noxzema one that I use, I know exactly how much pressure I need to glide it over my skin with. But with this other blade, it works great. Like, all I gotta do is like pretty much brush it against my skin and it trims the hair, but it worries me because I cannot feel it like I can feel the Noxzema one. So I keep trying to apply more pressure, and then I'm like, I'm gonna have a crap ton of blood just gushing out because I might get one of my arteries. Something crazy. My anxiety just gets in the way. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't even have a shaving cream. Like, I bought one just because it's been about 12 years since I used one, and I'm like, you know what? Let me try an actual shaving cream just to see what it feels like now. But it's sitting right there. I can see it from here. Still not using it. Like my soaps create a lather already. So isn't that what the cream is? Like a lather? Anyway, and I love Carhartt and Under Armour shirt. They are soft, comfortable, and fit well. Under Armour leggings are amazing. They have like this silky feel to them. And then Adidas ones, they tend to be more, can I say rugged? It's like if I were to be out running in a field or something, I know that I can slide myself on the ground and it'll take a lot of effort for them to rip. And when it comes to their hoodies, I like it because they normally have thumb holes and the hood is pretty like big. It covers pretty much down to my eyebrows. And I find that the design is just prettier, and the Under Armour tries to make a design out of their logo. It's like that little UA thing, which until 2 years ago, I used to think that the Under Armour logo was an X. Like, I know that's pretty stupid, but it took me a while to see that it's a U and an A. Just it just hit me one time. I was at their website looking up something for information's sake, and then I discovered that, and I'm like, how did it not click in to me? But, anyways, and then there was another logo that blew my mind when I noticed what it actually was, but I can't think about it now. Like the Tostitos logo, it had like the T's are supposed to be like two people or something. Mind blowing. Here Gillette comment, Holger, I couldn't agree more. I have to avoid certain brands due to allergies. I can only wear certain brands of shoes because only a few make them my size. When it comes to shoes, I say this to a friend of mine a lot, but I'm really surprisingly not someone who loves shoes like that. It's probably because every 2 or 3 months, I need to buy a new pair from how quickly I just wear them out. But I just cannot imagine every 3 months having to spend between $60 or $80 for fancy shoes. And honestly, fancy brands, they're really not that appealing to me. You can try to decorate it as much as you want to, design it any crazy way, use my favorite shades of blue in it. If I don't like your shoe, I just don't like it. And even if I like it and it's a fancy brand, the same thing that shoe does for me, another shoe will do for me. But I understand some folks are kind of forced into developing a brand loyalty given special conditions like allergies and such. But honestly, for me, as someone who doesn't have those limitations, when it comes to shoes, if I see a pair that I like that's like under $20, I own it. But my goal is to have one pair of every single color until it dies on me and then maybe replace it. But my shoes, black and white, is really what does the trick. And then I have a pair that's red and a pair that's blue. But I still have yet to find green shoes and purple ones. I've never owned green shoes. I've never owned purple ones. Actually, I take that back. I do have olive green shoes. I actually use them for work. But it's strange because I would expect that as someone who likes to match a lot, that I would have my closet just drowning in shoes, but I truly don't. I never wear sandals or anything like that. Um, I don't have anything orange except for some flip flops. And I tend to go for dark colors. So, pink, I cannot recall ever owning a pair of pink shoes or shoes with pink in it. Not at all. So, with shoes, I want to say that I only have 8 pairs right now that I can think of, and then maybe 4 sandals, and I have never worn some of those. So you can imagine that those sandals are there because someone gave them to me. But, it's like I don't want to turn it down, and I try my best to implement it into my fashion, but I just cannot. You cannot brainwash me. If I'm not already predisposed to it, you cannot just change the way I am configured into thinking to love something? It's weird. Hey, Garuda. I can only wear EE wide shoes, and only a few brands make that size. EE. I cannot say I have seen that before. Maybe there's no such thing as like EE stuff in women or something. um, what time? What items are women brand loyal to? Makeup, underwear, pads. Um, yeah, that's a good question for someone who is actually a brand loyalist, but I'm really not. If I had to guess from having explored apps where you can buy fashion online, I'm noticing that a lot of people love Michael Kors. Like purses by Michael Kors just sell a lot. The Saint Laurent brand, Yves Saint Laurent, it starts with a Y. Um, that sells a lot too. Like the customers whom I see every time they get out their wallet, it usually has that logo in it, the I, the V, and the L. And usually it's coming out of a Michael Kors purse, or the purse may be Coach, or the wallet may be Coach as well. And I'm also noticing that people like to wear a brand that I just recently discovered because I didn't know what the logo was, and it's called Lululemon. I have never had Lululemon leggings nor jackets, nothing. And I'm curious about it. I will walk into one of their boutiques that we have in town and just see what they're like, because even in apps where you can purchase used clothes, I have never seen Lululemon's cheaper than $35. So I want to know what it is that makes women post them for expensive prices despite being used. And usually brand new, that stuff costs anyway between $85 to 120-ish. And I'm like, I don't need to be spending $120 on leggings. Even if I could afford it, I would rather buy it pre-owned, or if I get lucky at a thrift store, maybe. But it's crazy. I'm noticing that brand a lot now that I know what the little logo is. I recognize it now. Um, when it comes to makeup, I'm noticing that Kylie Jenner's line is popular amongst teenagers, maybe because of the name. Like, it's more the brand more than anything. And what I mean by that is, what can I say? To name an example, Victoria's Secret. I once saw a jacket. In fact, I have worn it here. It's the white hoodie that says pink in here. I got that at the thrift store. I got lucky one day and I said, I have never had anything by Victoria's Secret. Let me try it. I bought it, and as honest as I can be, that stuff is not good quality. Like, I feel like Fruit of the Loom makes better sweaters than freaking Victoria's Secret. And that white hoodie, it already has a hole somewhere. I don't remember where, but one of the seams, it's already like, and I've worn it 3 times. However many times you guys have seen me wearing it since I vlog almost daily, that's how many times I have worn it. So you might say, well, you got it at the thrift store, so maybe someone used it already. It was pretty much brand new. Like at most, it was probably worn 3 times, and the reason I know that is because the fabric in the inside, when you wash it many times it starts to peel. Like you can see a lot of bumps and it just starts peeling. It's weird. And when I saw it, it was white, clean, no spots, nothing. So I can pretty much estimate that it was washed maybe one or two times, three tops. And I started wearing it like two times into it, and it already has a hole. So I got to talking to someone who buys stuff from Victoria's Secret a lot. And I said, "What's your experience with their like intimate clothing?" And she was like, "It sucks." And I'm like, "It sucks and people still spend $30 on it? Why?" Especially if it's not durable. When I look for a product, I am looking for reliability, durability, quality, and something that I'm going to be able to trust when I utilize it. So Victoria's Secret is something that I see all over. I see people wearing jackets, leggings by Victoria's Secret, especially the pink Victoria's Secret. I'm not sure if it's Pink, the artist, the singer who has a line of clothing with Victoria's Secret, or if that's just a sub division or something of Victoria's Secret, just like, say, Toyota owns Lexus, something like that. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you on that one. And when it comes to makeup, Maybelline is something that sells a lot. But I feel like they also have hair dyes as well. L'Oreal is another brand that I hear about all the time for like shampoos and conditioners. I've never used them before. That's a lie. As a kid, one time I fell victim to the bottles that used to be like shaped like a fish, and I bugged my mom about it because I thought the fish was cute. I got the green one, and I even remember how it smells, but I don't remember what the flavor was. But isn't that crazy? Because of a color and a design, as a child, that's all I saw. And marketers know that. They're like, let's shape this bottle into something crazy, place it at eye level where a child can see it, and it'll draw their attention. So my experience with the product was good, but does it warrant it costing like $5 per bottle? No, no. Let's see, what else did you ask about? Underwear and pads. When it comes to pads, I personally use the generic brands at Walmart. They have never given me any problems. But I can understand why some people may have issues with it if you have allergies. There are some women who get irritation from using those products. For me, since I don't have problems with it personally, I don't care. But there's people who specifically look for some that are made with organic products, and I don't know. I don't have an opinion on that. I have never used pads that are different from the ones that I use. And the one brand that I have problems with is Dove. I, for Christmas in 2016, my boyfriend's family gave me a kit that brought a shampoo, conditioner, lotion, and body wash. The body wash gave me an allergic reaction. Like my skin turned red and it burned. And I reached out to Dove, and all they said well, we recommend that you stop using this product, and we are concerned, and we want you to be safe, this and that. And sorry about this and that. Sorry that you had a bad experience. And I'm like, use better ingredients. You're a big company, you can afford it. They never replied to me. But I want to say that it was the anything that has like the word methyl in it, maybe that's what triggered it. Because I've noticed a pattern on certain products. The smaller the ingredients label, the better it is for me. So maybe it could go back to what I was saying earlier about the early, the sooner that you start reading the label, and whatever first ingredients you see, that's what's most present in your product. So maybe Dove includes a lot of the harsher chemicals first after water or something. And maybe that's what got to me. But I'm like, I don't need you to tell me to stop using your product. I'm being hurt by your product. So, of course, I stopped using it. Um, I did not demand a refund, but since it was a gift, but had it been my original purchase, I would have returned that mug and made sure that I spread the word about it. Um, and the bar of soap was also pretty bad. I was wondering, what if it's just the shower gel? Sometimes the way that the soap is made may be different, and the soap actually made me sneeze. Like, it was terrible. It had a strong smell to it. Um, so I said, I need to stay away from Dove. And that was the first time ever in my life that I ever had a problem with a body wash product. So I just remember how irritated my skin was, and I thought that my skin would look like bumpy forever. It was an awful experience. What items? Okay, just passing through. See ya, see ya. And what would it take to get you to be brand loyal? Sincerely, I do not know. Only because, like I mentioned earlier, I'm just someone who's not loyal to anything because I like to be open to possibilities. But I guess if you can consistently meet certain criteria, I could consider it. Like, say, reliability, the perks that I mentioned earlier, reliability, usefulness, ease of use, and durability, things like that. But you can get that anywhere. All of the brands, if you take care of the things that you own, you can have those things. You can have something that's durable if you know how to wash your clothes, if you know how to care for your car, if you know how to maintain things. Um, but for me to be loyal to a brand, it's insane in a sense because someone is going to mess up at some point. You ever hear about that? Say Chipotle, they take pride on not using artificial ingredients and sourcing from local farmers and stuff. They still have their situations where people get sick over maybe an employee who was sick or your produce was bad. You're going to mess up because you're there are humans running the business. So something is going to happen. Adidas, for example, I've never heard any scandals from them, but at some point I may end up trying a product like a hoodie that may have a defect on it. Like nobody caught it before it left the factory. So would that damage my perception? It'll be frustrating because I went home thinking that I had a product arrive through the mail. Let's say that I purchase it online. I'm like, when I do an online purchase, I'm expecting to be able to use my product right away and not have to return it. But anything can happen, you know? So maybe the reason I cannot become a brand loyalist is because I know that it is just like the topic I talked about of how do you ensure that individuality is preserved in society when it comes to brands, as much as they want to be perfect, as much of an impeccable integrity as they want to maintain, something is going to happen and it may affect your perception for a couple of hours, a couple of days, but if there is something that only they can give you, you will continue to go back to it. It's like there are certain people who, I don't know, they go to the store and they complain about products, they complain about prices, and I'm like, why are you still coming here? You know? So if someone is meant to be stuck to a product, it'll happen. And you don't need to try to come up with imaginative commercials or creative ads and flyers and stuff to persuade me. Just like when I go vote and there's this congregation outside trying to influence me to vote a certain way, I've already made up my mind on who I'm going to vote for before you even see me pull up to the parking lot. You cannot change me. See what I mean? So, when it comes to brands, if I see something that Toyota makes that I like, I'm going to have it. If I see something that freaking, I don't know, Under Armour does that I like, legging wise, I'm going to have it. I'll find it somewhere at a discounted price or something if I need it that badly. But I have had good experiences with more than one brand. Like let's say leggings, since I'm an expert in that um, department. I have had Adidas leggings, Under Armour leggings, New Balance, and Nike, and I honestly cannot tell you which one I like best because before purchasing something, I tried it on. I tried to see if it survives me, like stretching, squatting, and is it invisible? Is it see through? All of those questions. Before I made my purchase, I made sure that I got my answers to them to avoid going home to a disappointment. But because I have had good experiences regarding a product with more than one brand, I cannot become a brand loyalist. See what I mean? It's not like I gotta be wearing Adidas hoodies for the rest of my life. Like, oh, only Adidas can satisfy me. No, I have had great experiences with Under Armour. I have had great experiences with Nike. So why should I limit my options to just one? How is brand loyalty a good thing to me? When it comes to flying, you can be, if you say that you'll fly with Delta, they'll give you miles and stuff to where you can keep traveling. Well, guess what? You cannot seduce me with that because I don't travel often. I do not dream about being able to travel often. So it's not something that you can instill into me to suddenly care about it. I feel like brands try very hard to understand the needs and wants of consumers to generate a trust. And I'm like, it's difficult for me to find your trust and interest as genuine when your ultimate goal is to make money. If you are if you are a connection of mine through business means, I know you're not reliable. You're not the individual I want to be close to and dependent on because you have an interest. So if you ever become genuinely interested in me for who I am and what I am, your brand not immediately constantly satisfying my desires is not going to get in the way of our relationship. But if you're only trying to develop a relationship based on you ensuring that I keep being a fund source for you, it's crazy. That's where I can say my emotions get in the way. If you're a business, I know that your goal is to make money. And guess what? I am someone who's not obsessed about the almighty dollar. So maybe that's the psychology behind me not being able to fall in love with brands and all this. Some of this to me is propaganda. It really is. Like, how can you explain to me that in September, when Apple is getting ready to release their new phone, there's people camping outside. Okay, you can get this little phone at another time. You don't have to do it on September 7th or whenever it is that it always happens. You can wait. So I cannot imagine configuring my brain to behaving that way. See what I mean? If that's what a brand loyalty does to people. So I hope that answers your question. It was pretty difficult. I don't have an answer to it to just give you immediately because it's not what I am, you know? So, yeah. It's always great to watch your live streams. I must retire. Have a great night. Have a good night. I have brand loyalty. I am a fanatic of the products I like, except for Nike. I disown that company. When it comes to Nike, I don't know if you caught me saying this, Garuda, but most of the stuff that I get, I either purchased from someone who pre owned it or I got lucky at the thrift store, and that's what I'm wearing. So I do not spend more than $25 on clothes, period. $25 includes shipping and handling if I happen to make an online purchase. But it's just, to me, the logo and the symbol means nothing. I am looking for the functionality of the item that I am dropping money on. So if your leggings were to make my skin chafe, I'm returning it or I'm donating it or selling it. I'm not going to keep something that is harmful for me just because it has the logo of a well known company. I don't need that prestige. It doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't, you know? So, um, what can I say? When it comes to, I guess when it comes to some foods, I can have brand loyalty. I'm thinking about my favorite chocolate milk that I talked to you guys about, Coco Metro. Even though that is my all-time favorite milk, I do not buy it all the time. I only buy it at most 2 times per year because it's pricey. So even if I could buy it a lot, there's only one place in town I know that I can get it at. I don't need to be imposing myself so many limitations for just one little product when I have discovered other chocolate milks that satisfy me just as well, and I can go right around the corner to get it. So if it costs me a lot of work to get around to something, I'm more than likely going to ignore it. So maybe that's a factor that could make me loyal to a brand if I had transportation issues. Like wow, I cannot make it to I don't know, BP, so I gotta go to Shell to pump gas. There is just one gas station that I go to. It's a British Petroleum, and I go there because they tend to have the cheapest prices in town. And from what I remember, they are a top tier brand of gas that's supposed to be like good for your car or something. So I do not go to generic places like what would be one? Can't think of any names, but you can sort of tell they sell extremely cheap gas. I think it's called Quality or something. I don't think they're top tier. I think top tier are Exxon, Shell, Citgo, maybe, and BP. And I think it means it has some kind of detergent or something that's supposed to help clean something in your car. I don't know. I read that a long time ago, and you guys know that I'm not very car savvy. But even then, knowing that, I still have yet to see a sign that says that the place I am refueling at is top tier. But anyways, um, that's about it. Prices, I guess, influence me. But again, I try to find ways to save a few bucks. So if that means shopping at like thrift stores, I'll do it. There's good stuff to be found. And really, I only purchase clothes when I truly need it. So at the gym, you're doing difficult work. At some point, your clothes are going to give out, especially if you wash them a lot. So that's the reason why every once in a while, it's like I may be sporting something new, and it's because the other stuff just died on me, you know? And sometimes I feel like fashion, dressing a certain way just helps me feel better. Like, it may be too cold outside, it may be too hot outside, I may be sick, I want to be comfortable, I may be going on a long trip, I may be having a long day away from home. Basically, everything that I own is useful for me and makes my life better and more comfortable. When I make a decision to spend money, that's usually what's in my mind. How is this useful? How many times can I put it to work? And is it good quality? Is it worth it? I don't just spend money blindly and randomly. So when I got my phone, for example, it was 2015, and I said, you know what? I'll get a smartphone just because I find myself going out more and I don't know my way around town. And I don't feel like owning a GPS on the side that I need to have internet connection for and a computer, the very things that I don't have at home. So, why would I want to be going to places trying to install a program to make my GPS work for me? And I have to be constantly updating it. Whereas my phone already has built in internet and it'll do its updates automatically. So that is pretty practical for me, pretty functional, and stress free. So yeah, you guys, that's pretty much where I stand on this topic. I hope that everything that I said and explained makes sense. And I was glad to see what you guys had to say about your shopping habits if you have brand loyalty and stuff. This is something that I first heard of when I took a marketing course that I wish I hadn't because it was so obvious, but it was still useful because it made me think about some of the stuff, but yeah, it's amazing how much time people have spent studying each other and the behavior of the consumer. So just remember that the way I think is businesses are out there to make money. Usually, I'm not really benefiting a whole lot in the at the end of the day when I think about some stuff critically. So there is some stuff that you definitely get ripped off on and you don't know, you don't even realize it. So I'll try to put together a list of things that I personally have arrived at the conclusion that it's definitely a waste of money, and hopefully that'll be an extension to this topic. I need to put a list together for that one so that I can just describe points A, B, C, and D and all that. And let's see. Great to see you're already reaching your conclusion when I show up. Well, hopefully I rambled for a little longer enough for you to to get something out of this, you know? You know I have a lot to say and I ain't going nowhere. I get most of my clothing at Walmart. I buy name brand nice clothing maybe once a year. You know what? I do the same thing. My underwears, they come from Walmart. My bras, they used to come from Walmart until I discovered a little place I can go to that sells stuff at discounted prices. Pretty much someone buys up the inventory that doesn't get sold from main companies and I can just go there and get some stuff for a good bargain. Um and what else do I get at Walmart? My socks. Yep, they come from Walmart. These are the Avia ones. And even at Walmart, some stuff is starting to get a little too expensive. And I'm like, I could spoil myself with a better name brand, but is the quality really that better? So it's crazy if you actually stop and read some of the stuff that you get, like read the ingredients in it, especially in foods and clothes. There's a lot of stuff that you're just throwing a lot of money on. or even body care items. So, but anyways, we shall continue at another time. Well, guys, thanks so much for tuning in and for contributing your thoughts and opinions on this topic. It was pretty good. It got me to think about other stuff that I never considered, like especially folks with allergies. I would have never really had that present in my mind since it's not something that I experience a lot. So, but anyways, you guys let me know if you can think of more things to add to this in the comments, or if there's something in specific that you want to hear my opinion on.